Hello, everyone. Hello. Welcome. How's everybody doing? Welcome, everyone. So I wanted to go live tonight because Spirit is really making me want to talk about something today. Welcome. So what Spirit wanted me to talk about is a few topics, actually. One of the topics is Valentine's Day. Another topic is love magic, because a lot of people ask me questions about love magic and the morality of it all, right? So, and then at the end of this, I might do a message for the collective. So, I see a lot of people. Tomorrow is Valentine's Day, okay? I see a lot of people that define themselves based on the relationship status they're in, based on who they're with, how their relationship is going. And it makes me sad to see that so many are defining themselves, defining their entire lives, defining, can you guys hear me? I see a few of you are saying, okay. Defining everything in your life by whether you have a Valentine or not. And I'm here to tell you that you're not defined by whether you have a Valentine's date tomorrow, by whether you're in a relationship, by whether you're single. You're not defined by that. Another thing is love magic, right? I hear a lot of people that want to talk crap about love magic, but they don't understand love magic. They don't understand what love magic is. Love magic is not to force someone to love you. Love magic is to persuade that person to want to work on that relationship with you. Love magic can't force someone to love you. It can only persuade the person. Let me repeat this. It can only persuade the person to want to work on the relationship with you, to want to bring that passion back into the relationship. And this is what I talk about with anyone who is a client of mine, who I do love magic for, with the permission of my spirits, is that love magic is to persuade the person, persuade them to either come back into the relationship or persuade them to stay in the relationship and try to work on the relationship. Magic can create the illusion of love long enough, again, the illusion of love long enough to make it real. Okay? So when you're doing love magic, a lot of people talk a lot of BS about love magic and you shouldn't do love magic and you shouldn't do love magic and blah, blah, blah. There's nothing wrong with love magic. Love magic, every magic has a cost. Love magic is not considered dark magic. Dark magic is when you're turning somebody into a zombie and you're forcing them to be with you. Love magic is what's called red magic. And that means that it is based on influence. At least when you're working with spirit of light, when you're working with your magic, with your spirit guides, it's based on influencing the person. But it doesn't mean that it's going to keep that person there forever unless that person truly, honestly falls in love with you. Dark magic is when you turn someone into a zombie. And that's a whole other conversation. So it's important for us to stop bashing love magic because it's very effective. It's very useful. And it's not the problem. The problem is not love magic. The problem is that maybe we want someone to be with us that doesn't want to be with us anymore. That we're defining ourselves from being in that relationship. Maybe the issue is that we need to change our perspectives because we see everything around us based on the perspective we're in and based on the sign that we're born under, right? A Sagittarius sees love very differently from a Libra. My spouse is a Libra. My spouse sees love as very black and white. Either you're in love or you're not. I don't see it that way. I'm a fire sign. So as a fire sign, I see love as fluid, as a river that can have its highs and lows, that can change. I know myself. I know that I can be in love and my fire can be blossoming and huge one day. And the other days, it could be an ember and I don't want anybody to talk to me. I just want to be left alone to my little space over here. So I know who I am. So it's important for you to know who you are. Love magic is a tool to assist you. Okay? And yes, if someone has stronger will than you, they will not be influenced by your magic, by love magic. Okay? Because everyone has free will. And if someone has the ability to throw off a spell that you've put on them, then yes, they will throw it off. And a lot of people, when they are doing love magic, they will, they'll see like a spell worked for a little bit, but then they'll give up. They'll give up. And then I'm like, in reality, it's that person has a very strong will. And maybe giving up wasn't the solution. Maybe continuing was the solution. But that's up to every single person, and it's everyone's different destiny to find out the lesson. And one of the biggest lessons is to find how are you defining yourself within that relationship. I'm completely honest. I saved my relationship with love magic. My spouse and I, we did a spell together because we had outside influences pushing in on our relationship. And even when we tried to step away physically, there were still energetic attacks on our relationship. So my spouse and I, we did a spell together to save our relationship. It wasn't to force each other to be together, but to save our relationship and protect our relationship. So love magic is not necessarily the problem. A lot of the problem is that people define themselves based on the relationships they're in. And you define yourself and you give pieces of your soul away to others. And you define yourself based on the relationship you're in or the person loving you. And that's not healthy. And again, yes, if someone has a stronger will than you, then they will push off the love magic. And like I said, what you perceive, the whole world based on how your mind perceives things. If you have made up your mind about something, you will always see it from that perspective. You'll never, if you don't open your mind up to the fact that there are other possibilities other than what you believe things to be, you will always see everything from that perspective. And not realize that is exactly why love magic is so tricky, because people have free will. Unless you're working with somebody who's able to create zombies, which I have seen people create zombies, and that's in the sense of really putting somebody under a spell to the point where that person is not even there anymore. It's just a shell. That person has had their soul sucked. Guys, I have seen some things. I've been doing this since I was born. I've been in this, this is not a trend for me. I've been in this space since I was born. So I have seen some things. Okay? And you have to be able to see, like, have you guys, I don't know if you guys ever saw the movie Get Out, where like they replaced through hypnosis, which hypnosis, you can't really do this through hypnosis. There must have been something else they were doing, but they replace their consciousness with somebody else's, okay? That is zombie work. That is when someone is evil enough to really remove someone's consciousness and replace it with someone else's. In this case, the person who paid for the work. Okay? So zombie magic is real. And the problem too is that a lot of the evil people are willing to pay thousands of dollars to do that. But the people who need the help to remove certain things are not willing to pay a light worker $100 to help them. So you have to realize that it's what you value. A lot of us don't value our spirit, which is the reason why we define ourselves based on our partners. There's a lack of, you have to value your spirit, your spiritual well-being, because everything in your life starts in your spirit. And I have tried to disprove this because I'm a Sagittarius, and I'm just like, and my father used to always say this to me. But everything starts in the spirit. And I used to be like, well, maybe not, maybe blah, blah, blah. No, everything starts in the spirit. If you start with, I can call it spirit, you can call it energy. Everything starts in the spirit, in the energy. Then that affects your mental state. It affects the way you perceive the world. It affects the way your mind works. And then it affects your words, feelings, actions, and then results. And that's why so many people want to blame magic for, or want to say, oh, well, that's not, you haven't even given the magic time to work either. And that person may have a stronger will than you. For those of you, I'm going to address something for those of you who have asked me about how love magic works, because there's a lot of people who don't understand how love magic works. Love magic, again, is about influence. It's about influencing the other person's will. Okay? If that person's will is stronger than yours, you need to do more love magic on them to actually get them to be persuaded. If that person's will is not as strong, if you guys have seen Harry Potter, think of the Imperious Curse. Okay? Think of the Imperious Curse, and where Harry was able to push it off, whereas other wizards and witches weren't able to. Okay? So when I saw that in Harry Potter, I was like, oh, that's love magic. That's like love magic. You can't push, certain people are able to push off the curse and not able to fall under it. And then there are some people that are much easily persuaded because they have a more persuadable nature. Okay? There's no time frame to magic. There's no time frame. And until you get that out of your mind, you will never see results for your magic in the time that you want. So you have to realize that love magic, no magic at all has time frames. A lot of it depends on how much faith you have in it. So if you have in it, it's different doing magic of your own and manifestations of your own versus doing manifestations with a spirit. Spirits, If you don't have faith in them, you're telling them you don't trust their process, and they will stall they will stall how far or how long you have to wait for that to work. And spirits get offended too. If you doubt their magic, they get offended. They'll let you see the results, and then the moment you start doubting or asking too many questions and doubting them, they'll back away and they'll be like, well, if you don't trust me, then I'm not going to do anything for you. So that's a spirit working. That's different. Then you have spells. Spells are done with your own magic and your own spirit guides. In that case, then that magic can change, because that magic is influenced by your feelings, your beliefs, your doubts, and your faith in the magic. If you don't have faith or trust it, it will not work until after you give up on that. I've seen so many people who are like, I've been trying to do this forever and it just hasn't been working for me. Well, because before you even planted that seed, you told that seed that it wasn't going to grow. It's like planting a seed in the soil and saying, I don't know if you're going to grow. I don't know. I don't trust that you're going to grow. So then that seed is going to be like, well, if I'm not going to get sunlight and I'm not going to get water, then I'm not going to grow. And that sunlight and water are your faith and your belief and your trust in the process. Usually when you do love magic, you end up tying your soul to that person. And some people have stronger spirit guides than you. So if you don't have strong enough spirit guides, or you don't have certain spirit guides on your side, that is going to be blocked. Love magic is not going to change a person. Love magic, again, you're misunderstanding what I'm saying. Love magic is not meant to influence someone to change. It's meant to influence them to stay and work on the relationship. This is why if you don't understand love magic, you shouldn't comment on it. It's not meant to change that person. You can do all the love magic in the world, but it's not going to change that person. Love magic is meant to aid you in asking that person energetically to want to work on the relationship, to want to come back, to want to stay and work on the relationship. But if a month into it, they decide, you know what, I came back, this is not what I thought it was, they will leave again. Because the thing is that you can't be doing love magic either if you're not willing to change also. If you're not willing to change, if you're going to do a love spell and bring a person back, and then when that person comes back to give you another chance, you're calling him or her this and isn't, you know what I'm saying? If you're doing all this like crazy stuff, accusing them, all these things, right there, you broke that spell. Because now their spirit guides are like, yeah, no, it's not worth it for him to be here. Let's bounce. And they're going to make sure that that person leaves. And I'm saying because the majority of the ones who do this are women. Women do love spells, whether they pay other people, whether they do it themselves. And then when the guy comes back, you want to act like a fool and start calling him a million names as if you don't know who he is already. You are going to get that man as is. Your spirit guides or the spirit guides of whatever worker you go to, they are there to assist. They are not there to change that person, because that person was created by God and only God can change that person. A spirit guide can only persuade them to change or to come back or to make a certain action. So So if you're in that mind frame that you think that you can just bring someone back and then continue with the same behavior, the love magic is not gonna force that person to be with you. So when you do love magic, realize that you are accepting that person for exactly who they are. If you're doing return to me, you're accepting that person for exactly who they are. All that spell is going to do is bring that man back. And I promise you 100,000% that come to me will work. At least if you do it right. Unless he has a very, very, very strong spirit guides that don't agree. But the moment you open your loud mouth and you start cursing him out, he's going to leave. No offense, guys. I love you, but we can't expect change from other people unless we change first. Okay? So energetically, a lot of people think that this isn't true, but like attracts like energetically. It's not like a magnet where opposites attract. It's actually the opposite. When you are with someone, if you are in a vibration where you accept disrespect, you accept someone that doesn't appreciate you, or you don't appreciate yourself, you are going to attract someone who doesn't appreciate you. If you're in that vibration that you don't think highly of yourself, you're going to attract someone who doesn't think highly of you, who thinks that they can just walk all over you. If you are in a vibration where you don't feel like you are enough, you feel like you're not worthy, you are going to vibrate on that vibration, and you are going to attract that vibration. So you can do things to love yourself more, vibrate higher, and when you learn to vibrate higher, you will learn to not accept the BS. When you vibrate higher, you will remove from your life anything that doesn't bring you peace. Again, when you vibrate higher, you will remove from your life that which does not bring you peace. You can't blame your spirit guides. You can't blame their spirit guides. You can't blame God. You can only blame yourself. Because if you're not vibrating high because you want to stay in the victim mentality, or I don't know why he does this to me, you have accepted that behavior. You can't blame your spirit guides. You can't blame God. You can only blame one and only one, which is yourself. When people do to you what you accept from them. And a lot of people are like, I don't subscribe to the remove people from your life. That is BS. If you say that, it's because you enjoy the drama and you enjoy complaining about it afterwards. If something removes your peace, it needs to be removed from your life. Just like when you train, honestly, we're not that different from animals, and I think highly of animals. Animals, no energy like that. My cat doesn't like you, I don't trust you. My cat doesn't like you. My cat, I've had people come over to my home temple, and my cat will not go near them before they do their cleansing. And as soon as they do their cleansing, my cat wants to be their friend. So if my cat doesn't trust you, pay attention to how you feel around someone's energy. Pay attention how your animals behave around someone's energy. Dogs are very spiritual and very tuned. Your animals absorb a lot of your energy. Okay? If your animal doesn't like a person, a place, or a thing, that right there will tell you right away. So don't blame the love magic. Don't blame your spirit guides. Don't blame God. It all is based on how your energy is. So if you do a love spell and then your energy sucks, that's exactly what you're going to get back from the love spell. We all need to learn to vibrate higher. Vibrate higher. Vibrate higher. If you're asking your spirit guides to help you with something and then you turn around and you complain and whine and tell them how you are scared and how you don't believe that it's going to happen, then they're going to say, okay, well then don't waste my time. Because your spirit guides have a lot of important things to do. A lot of people don't know this, but our spirit guides are not just here to serve us. They're here to serve all of humanity. So if there's a war that they're trying to prevent versus getting you your guy back, they're going to pick the war first. And then they're going to get to your spell. So just because you think you're going to die if he doesn't come back today, I'm sorry to tell you, you're not going to die. Think about why is this person being removed from my life? Why? What was the purpose? What was the purpose of that person being put in my life? So like if your spirit guides got to go save burning koalas in Australia versus bringing you back the guy that's going to cheat on you again, they're going to put that on the back burner. Message from the Madama. So, and it's not to be insensitive to those who want love. Love is great. Love is amazing. So if we are behaving in a way, also pay attention to whether you're behaving, if you are exhibiting the same bad patterns that you saw in your parents' relationship. Ooh, that hurt right there. Are you repeating the pattern? Love is amazing. Love does not stink. We stink. Our energy stinks. Our energy about love is what stinks. Well, not mine, but many people's out there. Energy about love is what stinks. It's not love that stinks. It's our energy about love that stinks. It's our energy about what true love is that stinks. It's what we perceive love to be. A lot of us are in lust and we think we're in love, but we're in lust. We're thinking with our hoo-has rather than with our hearts. A lot of us are thinking with a different brain. Some of us are thinking about with a different brain. You have to learn to discern what lust is versus love. A lot of people think that someone said to me, when you meet the love of your life. You're meant to feel peace, not chaos. And I was like, what? Yeah. When you meet the love of your life in another person, because you have to learn to love yourself first and care about yourself first, you will feel peace, not chaos. So I am all for doing love magic. Like I said again, love magic is not to blame. Don't blame love magic for getting back the same cheating person that you just let go of. Can't blame love magic for that. Love magic works, but also love magic is not going to change that person from being who they are. Amen. So tomorrow, as it's St. Valentine's Day, has anybody thought about lighting a candle for St. Valentine instead of asking him for things? Light him a candle. Light St. Valentine a candle. Poor thing. He's always doing things for y'all. And y'all don't even want to light him a candle for his elevation. Dang. Like, light St. Valentine a candle. Help him elevate even higher. Maybe he'll hook you up. Light St. Valentine a pink candle. Everybody forgets that it's St. Valentine's Day. St. Valentine's Day. St. Valentine's was an actual saint. He was known for being a very loving person. If Valentine's Day makes you sad, it's because you're defining yourself based on your relationship status. You need to change that. If Valentine's Day makes you depressed, sad, whatever negative feelings it is that you feel, you need to work on yourself. Because that means that you define yourself based on being in a relationship. So you need to work on that. Work on self-love. It can be red, it can be pink, it can be white, it can be yellow, whatever color you want to light for him. I was going to do cards from this deck, but I did not like the deck. I was not feeling that one. Whatever color, if you want to light it blue, whatever way you feel that you need to connect with the energy of love, that's up to you. Good. Self-love for yourself. As long as you offer it up. I bought all pink candles for my altar and it looks amazing. They are loving it. So do something for you. Do something for your altar tomorrow. Okay. St. Valentine is also about friendship. So if you want to light a yellow candle, which represents friendship, you can do that. It's not just about romantic love. If you love your grandma and you want to light a candle for your grandma, you can do that too. So love on your spirit guides. If you don't have somebody to love in person, love on your spirit guides. Love on yourself. Oh, my grandma, my great grandmother. I think I have a picture of her. She's 105. She's so sweet. But also observe your limitations, guys, because what you believe, you will limit in your reality. This goes for anything. If you believe you can't have a business, it's going to limit your reality there. If you don't believe in love, if you don't believe in that love can be selfless and kind, you're going to limit your reality there. If you don't believe that magic has power, you're going to limit your magic. If you don't believe that your spirit guides will speak to you, if you don't give them X, Y, and Z, you're going to limit you're going to limit your connection with them. So push past your limitations. Your definition of yourself, your definition of what's truth and what's not truth are limitations that hold you back. They're all limitations because as humans, we like to limit everything because we want to understand it. But that's not possible. You need to understand that it's everything that you perceive is much bigger and much greater than you perceive it. Because we all have a limited view. We all have a limited view, which is why I find it hard asking another human for guidance. I always try to go to my spirit, unless my spirit says that human has a message for you. Because a lot of the times, my spirit will be like, that human has a message for you. That human has received a message for you that you need to hear. But other than that, I go to my spirit guides. Because my spirit guides will tell me. That's why I tell you, whether I'm here or not, you need to follow your spirit guides. My spirit guides will make sure I'm good. I was born, I am spirit. I know that I am spirit. So whether I'm here doing this or spirit has me doing something else, I know that spirit will carry me through. And you need to understand that for yourself as well, that your spirit guides are here to help you. Just like my spirit guides will make sure that I'm good, no matter what. Because nobody can take away my divinity. Because all of us are divine. No one can take away your divinity. No one can define your divinity. We are divine. And that is not to say that I am God, but I am a piece of God. You are a piece of God. You need to understand that you are a creator and a creation. You have to understand that. Understand that. And you will have doors open for you that no human can open for you. No human can close doors for you or open doors for you that a spirit isn't in agreement with. We can be vessels. We can be vessels, right? So, for example, I'm a spiritual vessel. All the work that I do is I let my body be used by my spirits to do the work I do. That is all I am. I am a telephone. He's trying to get in here. He's trying to climb my bookshelf. I found him on top of my bookshelf yesterday. All that we are as beings who have been awake for longer, we are conduits, we are vessels, we are just simply a shell that spirit speaks through, a shell that spirit utilizes for good, for whatever they need. We are just a channel, just like the cables in your house are a channel for electricity. Okay? The cables in your home are a channel for electricity. All that we are is that cable. As someone who gets possessed by spirits, all that I am is that cable for spirit to come through. So there are different ceremonies to expand your ability to do that. But you have to realize that true connection to source starts with isolation. And by not defining yourself based on another person, you have to be comfortable with isolation. Because when you are in the noise, you cannot hear what spirit has to say to you. And many of us are so stuck in the past that we're not able to even see 2 feet ahead of us into the future, into the vision that spirit has for us. We think that our answers are going to be in our friends and family and the relationship we're in. We think that our definition of us is in those people. You cannot put that pressure on someone else. I have seen people try to have kids to save their relationship. You cannot put that pressure on a child to save your relationship, to keep someone with you. You cannot put that pressure on a child. That is not going to work. You need to realize that only through isolation, which is the thing that people hate the most. Only through isolation and meditation will you be able to connect to the divine and to find and remember the plan that you came here to complete. You came here to complete a plan. And you will lose your way if you try to find it in everyone else. If you try to martyr yourself in order to find that plan, you will lose your way. You need to give up. The past is the past. And if you don't let go of the past, it will forever plague your present. And you will never be able to move on to your future. Because your present is your future. The only thing we can create is the future now. You have to create inner harmony, inner understanding to understand yourself and to find those answers, to remember who you are, to remember what you came here for. And one of the biggest reasons why people don't heal from wounds of the past is because they define themselves through that wound, and refuse to stop talking about that wound. Instead of saying, you know what? The chapter to that wound, we've talked about it, we've dissected it, we have done everything. Now we need to close that chapter. If you defined yourself by your trauma, that chapter will forever stay open. And your past will affect your present and will affect your future. Because what you perceive about love or relationships or money will be exactly what you will create in your reality. So if you, this is something that I see a lot with people who have been sexually traumatized, who have been sexually abused. Then they go on to heal partially, and then they go on to help other people who dealt with sexual abuse as well. Well, now your whole life is dependent on that trauma. Your whole identity is dependent on that trauma that you went through. So I'm not saying you shouldn't help other people that have gone through the same trauma as you, but you need to be able to separate your identity from that trauma. So if you continue to define yourself based on that trauma, everything you do in your life was based on that trauma or based on that relationship or based on that situation, you are continuing to be defined by that situation, by that trauma, by that situation, by that relationship, and then you are not able to move forward. So the first thing you need to say is, I can tell you my story, but that doesn't define me. What defines me is how I was able to heal, how I was able to forgive, and how I was able to move on. Your strength, your perseverance, your dedication, your courage should be what defines you, not that situation. Because if you continue, and I'm speaking from experience, if you continue to identify yourself based on childhood sexual molestation, I'm going to say that because that is an experience that I lived, an experience that I see many of my clients have lived. If you define yourself based on when you were sexually abused as a child, and you continue to define yourself that way your entire life, and you don't define yourself by the courage and by the love and the light and the beauty that you have to share, then you will continue to define yourself that way. And then you will not be able, and then everything you do will be stained. Everything you'll do will be stained by that trauma. Everything you do, every good thing that you do will be stained by that trauma, not by your courage. You don't need to keep retelling your story. You don't have to continue retelling your story to help someone who has gone through that story. All you need to do is say, I have had a similar situation, and I have found that doing this, this, and this can help heal you. I say all the time, I'm not as courageous as everybody thinks I am. I simply pray for courage. Once you have gone through the process of speaking about it, let's say, now I'm not talking about people who are freshly coming out of trauma. In the beginning, when you freshly come out of trauma, you need to speak about it. You need to voice it. You need to go to someone. Okay? You need to go to someone and speak your truth. You need to go through that. However, once you have gone through the healing process and now you want to move forward from that situation, that's when I say now it's time to move on. Now it's time to no longer identify myself by that trauma. So saying, I have gone through a similar experience, and I know for me it was difficult, so I can't even imagine how difficult it is for you. And allow that person, maybe, if you are a professional that is meant to deal with that, or you are trying to help someone who is dealing with those types of situations, and at that point, then you can say, okay, let's talk about it. Let's go through it. Let's find a solution. But in the beginning, yes. In the beginning, if you need to talk about it, if you need to go over it. But once you have talked about it, and talked about it, and talked about it, and talked about it, there has to come a point where you need to close that chapter. And a lot of people make the mistake of thinking that they have to forever be defined by that trauma. That you forever have to be defined by that experience. And that to help others, you can't let go of that experience. And I always say, if you need to speak to a therapist, do it. There's a big stigma in speaking to a therapist, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's a big stigma with hypnotherapy as well. Hypnotherapy can be very useful. I used it myself, and I can tell you that it was very helpful for me. So it all comes back around to loving yourself, respecting yourself, and figuring out how you define yourself. And not defining yourself by someone else's actions, because that is something that, as a victim of a situation, we end up sometimes defining ourselves through someone else's actions. Hypnotherapy will most likely work. I do past life regression, and I do connection to the higher self through hypnotherapy. But there is some people that are just not, they're losing they've lost pieces of their soul in that trauma, and they're stuck in that loop. So what hypnotherapy tends to do is that it forces you to pull yourself out of that loop. Okay? Because when we go through traumas, we lose pieces of our soul. And it's not, what hypnotherapy it does is that it forces you to heal yourself. It's not on someone else to heal you. So through hypnosis, you are forced to heal yourself through your higher self, rather than putting that responsibility on someone else. And I recently found out that a lot of my native past, my native ancestry used to do their own form of hypnotherapy, and that postpartum depression is a form of soul loss. And PTSD is soul loss and can be assisted through hypnotherapy. So those are things we have to remember. When you give birth, you come out of your body temporarily. So a piece of your soul stays in the astral realm, and then it may cause soul loss. It may cause you to have postpartum depression. When you are in a relationship with someone for a very long time, you're giving that person a piece of your soul. You're giving that person a piece of your soul all the time. And what happens is that person may be able to move on, but you're like, how do I move on? How do I move on? And you're not able to, because a piece of your soul is with that person. So when you when you have a baby, every single time you give birth, you can go through soul loss. Okay, this is something that one of my native ancestors explained to me the other day in meditation. She said, we used to do shamanic rituals that involved a form of hypnosis where after every single baby that anybody had in the tribe, because we understood that when you were creating life and you were going through the process, you can lose pieces of your soul. Usually soul retrieval can happen naturally depending on how traumatic the experience is. But usually soul retrieval needs to be intentional. So it's all about remembering to connect to spirit, because they have the most divine knowledge. So keep an open mind. Keep an open mind. And once you retrieve your soul fragments, your balance will be replaced. You will feel more balanced. You will feel more whole. And I've found that people sometimes need to go through multiple sessions because they've had multiple experiences of soul loss. Or need to maybe do it multiple times. Every time you give too much thought to a situation where it has an emotional reaction, every time, I should say not just a thought, but a thought combined with an emotional reaction, you're giving that situation a piece of your soul. Okay? So again, when you have a thought combined with an emotion, right there, you're giving a little fragment away to that person. Sometimes you're like, man, I haven't thought about him in years. And all of a sudden, I thought about him. And then I saw him a few days later. What happened was you sent a piece of your soul over there to retrieve him. And what happened? He ended up coming with it. I highly suggest past life regressions and hypnosis. It is interesting. Every time that I do it for someone different, it's always very interesting. But the whole point of this life was to be sure to not identify yourself based on other people, based on things, based on relationships. Okay, so you have to reclaim those pieces back. Okay, and when it's really important. You can do soul retrieval through meditation. But hypnosis is really kind of dangerous for you to do it on your own. Hypnosis usually, in my experience, I feel that it is safest for you to do it with someone else. Okay? Because when you are going through hypnosis, you can lose pieces of yourself because you're traveling through the astral realm. So what a hypnosis facilitator does is that we just help you do that travel so that you can find your way back. So hypnosis, I don't recommend doing it on your own. You can do meditation and do soul retrieval through meditation. Okay. But that's all that I have for you today. Send you much love. Much love. And I am now in New York. I am only doing in-person things by appointment as spirit requests. So you can see all that information by booking a consultation. Many blessings.